Trevor Noah of The Daily Show has filed a medical malpractice lawsuit against a prominent New York surgeon. I got a copy of the lawsuit. I want to show it to you, and I want to show you what it says and maybe give you some ideas that aren't necessarily being reported in the media. Stay tuned.
Here is a copy of the verified complaint. And basically, a complaint is the name of the document, what's called a pleading, that kicks off a lawsuit. So you can see here, it's Trevor C. Noah versus Riley J. Williams, MD, the third MD in hospital for special surgery. What's important to understand about the complaint is that it does not contain evidence. It contains allegations. The plaintiff lists through the who, what, when, where, and how of the basis of the dispute. The purpose is to give the defendants notice so that they know what the claim is about. But it doesn't set forth all the details, nor does it set forth all the evidence. In paragraph 24, we see that Trevor Noah was a patient of the defendant, Riley Williams, the third MD. Then in paragraph 25, says that various times between August 25th, 2020 through approximately December 17th, 2020, plaintiff Trevor came under the diagnosis, care, and treatment of defendant hospital for special surgery, its agents, servants, and/or employees, and for a surgery that was performed on November 23rd, 2020. So now this gives us a lot of information. There was a surgery that was performed. Dr. Williams performed it at the hospital of special surgery. When you get to paragraph 30, there's a bunch of general allegations of negligence that are listed. Paragraph G is very noteworthy to me. It's failure to investigate the qualifications, competence, capacity, abilities, and capabilities of doctors, nurses, specialists, technicians, and other employees involved in plaintiff's care. So basically, there's an allegation that the people who are on the ground in the surgical suite that were performing the surgery were not necessarily competent to do so. Maybe it was outside of their particular wheelhouse or specialty. Whatever it may be the case, there's an allegation of that. And I think as we're going to get into in a couple of minutes, that's very noteworthy. Anytime someone brings a lawsuit, they have to allege that they suffered damages. So for a personal injury suit or a medical malpractice suit, there has to be bodily injuries, could be emotional injuries, could be lost wages, loss of earning capacity, various things like that. The allegation that really jumps out at me is that as a result of this conduct, plaintiff was rendered sick, sore, lame, and disabled, that he sustained severe nervous shock. But here's the big one. He was confined to bed and home for a long period of time. That to me is noteworthy and I think it gives us some hints of what he's dealing with. We also see that he was prevented from engaging in his usual occupation for a long period of time. Based on all of this information, I have a hunch as to what happened here. And this could be wildly off base because, as you can see, this is very generalized information. I suspect that Trevor had some sort of a spine condition. He went for treatment with Dr. Williams. Dr. Williams said, let's go ahead. We can proceed with this one type of treatment. I feel good about it. Trevor felt good about it, felt confident in it. The doctor performed it. And for various reasons, Trevor was worse off as a result of having this surgery. Trevor saying, had I known then what I know now, I never would have agreed to this surgery in the first place. So let me explain why I have a hunch that we're dealing with a spinal injury here. And it's based on some of the allegations in the complaint, as well as who Dr. Williams is based on his own web bio. So here's a copy of his bio that exists on the hospital's website. And as you can see, he is an orthopedic surgeon. So orthopedic surgeons deal with musculoskeletal problems. And that could be problems with bones, ligaments, muscles, and all in between. And so a lot of times they're dealing with ankle injuries, knee, hip, elbow, wrist, shoulder, and spine. Now, if you can see here also, Dr. Williams is very highly renowned. He's a head team orthopedic surgeon for the Nets in the NBA, New York Liberty in the WNBA. He's also a team physician for USA Basketball. So the guy's credentials are top notch. He is unquestionably at the top of his game. We can see that Trevor's claiming that he was bedridden, that he's unable to go to his job and to do his work. And to me, I don't think that that's something that's going to happen with an ankle injury, a knee injury, wrist, elbow, shoulder. It's either going to happen with a hip or with a spine. Most of my clients who have hip injuries, they could have devastating consequences, but usually if they have a hip surgery, they're going to get back on their feet relatively soon. It's shocking how quickly that happens. But with spine injuries, that can be an altogether different beast. And one of the things that happens with the spine is that you have all of the vertebral column with all of the nerves from the spinal cord that are coming down. And folks who have had spinal injuries, if they have a compressed nerve or they have some sort of an issue where nerves are aggravated, they can't stand, they can't sit, they can't walk. Basically, the only relief they can get oftentimes is just by laying down. And given the fact that Trevor was bedridden and he was unable to even sit at his desk for the Daily Show, it makes me believe that we are dealing with a spine injury. I think the next question we have to ask is why. Trevor Noah is a very wealthy man. He's extremely famous. He's one of the top comedians in the world. If he has money, he has time, he has resources, why is he bringing a medical malpractice lawsuit against a highly reputable, well-known doctor? And I think to answer this question, I want to share something. And this is a study that is actually from Johns Hopkins University. And as you can see, this study from Johns Hopkins says that medical errors are the third leading cause of death in the United States. So this is from 2016, but there are additional studies that have come out to back this and actually say that this study underreports how bad of a problem medical malpractice is. According to the study, 10% of all US deaths are now due to medical error. So, I mean, if you start thinking about that, you start thinking about cancer and heart disease, it's up there in that kind of echelon of causes, which is utterly shocking and unacceptable because these are preventable medical errors. One other thing to think of is this Johns Hopkins study is talking about death rates. That's not even getting into all of the people who are injured. Obviously, this didn't kill Trevor, but it did cause an injury. And it sounded like it was an injury that is going to have life-altering impacts to him. So at the end of the day, what I think it really comes down to is that if something like this can happen to Trevor Noah, who is wealthy and famous and with that powerful by virtue of his platform, it can happen to anyone. And it's important that someone like Trevor Noah fight this fight, because this is an issue that is this level of medical malpractice is unacceptable. I'm glad that he is standing in the gap and that he's fighting. He's bringing some awareness to this problem. And just be mindful of that when you inevitably start to hear people say, oh, he's being greedy, he's seeking all this money. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that it wasn't too technical and in the weeds. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, I hope you would consider giving a like and subscribing and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks.